Hi guys, today I wanted to try something new and make a beginner friendly class guide. Hopefully you like it. This guide is tailored toward those of you who just want a more general overlook at each different class, so it should be easy to follow and will not dive too deep into the subject. If you're looking for more in-depth guides, then you can check out other channels like Cargos, DevCamp and Melderon, Metagoblin, Serious Gaming and so on. These guys take class guides to a whole new level, so if you're looking for a deeper theory crafting of each class and spec, best in slot, consumables, PvP and so on, then definitely go check these guys out. Today we have the Paladin. I will break this guide down into 3 categories, one for each specialization, and I will go over every change that takes place from Classic to TBC. I hope I don't forget any. If I do, please let me know in the comments down below. We will also have a look at each spec's performance, and finally I will go over the drama regarding Horde and Alliance Paladins with Seal of Blood and Seal of the Crusader. Oh boy. Short and simple, it should be enough to give you a general idea of what you're getting into if you decide to roll a Paladin. And by the way guys, I am very glad to see that my videos are getting viewed and that the channel is growing. I know it's not much compared to other content creators, but it means a lot to me anyway, so thank you, and let's go! Paladin's a pretty fantasy-rich class, the combination of warrior and priest, the only class alongside druids able to fulfill all 3 roles in the game, tanking, healing and doing damage. But unfortunately neither their tanking nor their DPS and spec were enough polished in vanilla, which has led many people to see and use them as a mostly healing class. With the introduction of TBC, however, Paladins received some major improvements, especially in those more critical areas. Protection Paladins got a sizable talent tree overhaul. First of all, they get improved Holy Shield, increasing damage down a number of charges. Improved Righteous Fury gets an additional improvement by adding 6% damage reduction to it. Paladin's survivability is also heavily improved thanks to the addition of Ardent Defender and Combat Expertise, plus other minor talents like Stoicism, Spell Warding and Sacred Duty. Spiritual Attunement is a pretty big addition to the class too, making Paladins finally generate mana when they're healed. This is a baseline ability, which means that the other 2 specs may also profit from it. The next big one is Righteous Defense, which will cover up a huge hole in their role as tanks, since they will finally be able to taunt mobs. Finally, Paladins also get Avenger's Shield, which will finally provide them with a ranged spell. All these changes combined will make Paladins arguably the best dungeon tanks in the expansion, mostly due to their incredible AoE potential and improved damage. They also do well in raids, but when it comes to being the main tank, warriors and druids will generally gain the upper hand, mainly due to their superior damage mitigation. Nonetheless, Paladin tanks will be able to hold their ground a lot better in TBC than they currently do in Classic. Rotation-wise, everything stays more or less the same. The big differences are Avenger's Shield, which now you can use and should use to pull in most situations, unless you're a really big fan of Cobalt Candles. And now you also have a taunt, which works by casting it on your party members that are being attacked. A bit strange to be fair, but at least it gets the job done. Other than that, you will still be using Seal of the Crusader and Seal of Righteousness quite a lot. If you're tanking bosses as an Alliance player, you will instead apply Seal of Vengeance, and if you're Horde and are not taking too much damage, you can also use Seal of Blood, which deals extra damage to you, but the extra healing will also give you extra mana. Use Seal of Wisdom for longer fights for mana recovery. Always remember to keep Holy Shield up at all times. Use Avenging Wrath to give you a boost of damage when needed. And finally, don't forget to use Consecration, especially when fighting more than one enemy. And if it is only one mob or boss, you can decide if it is really necessary, since this ability will take a good chunk out of your mana. Paladin healers don't change that much at all, at least compared to Proud Paladins. The core of the talent tree remains more or less the same, except for the removal of Consecration, which now you can learn from your class trainer, and the addition of Aura Mastery in its stead. The next big additions to their talent tree are Light's Grace, Holy Guidance and Divine Illumination. this last one being a crucial cooldown which in combination with Light's Grace can act as a lifeline in difficult situations. Other than that, they receive some mostly PvP relevant talents like Pure of Heart and Blessed Light. If we take a look at the spellbook of Holy Paladins, you may notice the severe lack of AoE healing, which unsurprisingly turns out to be their biggest weakness. Nonetheless, while Paladins may lack multiple target healing, they shine and do pretty well at single target healing, making them perfect for healing tanks. They also have a pretty high amount of armor since they can wear plate and shields, making them pretty resistant to physical damage in PvP. Rotation wise, you will be using Flash of Light quite a lot, especially the lower ranks, since they drain almost no mana and scale nicely with good gear. For stronger heals, you can use Holy Light at max rank or even lower ranks too, depending on how dire the situation is and how well you can manage your mana. Holy Light will activate Light's Grace too, which is a talent that reduces the time of your next Holy Light cast, so you should keep it up at all times. Use lower ranks if you can afford it. The logic behind it is that you will need less time to cast the highest rank of Holy Light faster whenever you really need it. For maximum healing, combine its highest rank with Divine Favor, since it will grant you a 100% crit chance. You will want to reserve Holy Shock only for emergencies. And don't forget your seals. Use either Seal of Light or Seal of Wisdom if you want to provide extra healing or extra mana to your group members. DPS Paladins suffer quite a few changes from vanilla as well. As far as new talents are concerned, the most notorious changes are Crusader Strike, which is an additional ability to the rotation cooldown and will make Retri Paladins a bit less monotone. Fanatism, which gives extra crit percentage and reduced threat generation to your judgments. And finally, improved Seal of the Crusader, which grants an extra 3% crit chance to every party member for that specific enemy. As far as new abilities goes, Paladins also get 2 new seals, Seal of Blood, which is only available to Horde Paladins, and Seal of Vengeance, which is only available to Alliance Paladins. I'll talk more about this issue at the end of this video. Avenging Wrath is a nice new addition, especially for DPS Paladins, since it will grant an additional 30% damage dealt, although it can be equally useful to Paladin tanks as well. Overall, DPS Paladins get huge improvements in TBC, will deal more damage compared to Classic, and their rotation will feel less boring thanks to the addition of Crusader Strike. However, even though they become a much more reliant source of DPS, they are still not as consistent as other DPS classes and still rely on big damage bursts. As Paladins, they still bring many other benefits to other party members, such as blessings, auras, and even improved Seal of the Crusader, which will increase the damage done by all party members, and that alone is reason enough to always bring a DPS Paladin into the raid group. The rotation for Retri Paladins will stay almost identical except for the addition of Crusader Strike and Avenging Wrath. You will rotate between Seal of Command and Seal of the Crusader while using Crusader Strike in between. If you are a Horde Paladin, you will use Seal of Blood instead of Seal of Command, since the former is much more powerful. With Avenging Wrath, you have a new cooldown which you can use whenever you need a quick boost of damage. Horde versus Alliance Paladins. So it turns out that Blizzard decided to give Horde and Alliance Paladins different seals with a not that small difference in power. The Horde Paladin gets Seal of Blood and the Alliance Paladin gets Seal of Vengeance. Seal of Blood is extreme good for dealing damage, even though it will cause a health loss to the Paladin equal to 10% of the total damage inflicted, which is actually a good deal because when they're healed, they also recover mana thanks to the passive ability Spiritual Attunement, which I covered earlier in this video. Seal of Vengeance is only really useful to tank Paladins, and the funny thing is that for Horde tank Paladins, using Seal of Blood can sometimes be the best option too, although they have to be careful with their health bar. So simply put, Horde Paladins get the strongest seal for Retribution Paladins, which in combination with Wind Fury Totem can transform Blood Elf Paladins in Wrecking Balls, especially in PvP. Some private servers have opted to give both Horde and Alliance Seal of Blood, but I don't really count on Blizzard doing the same for Classic TBC. Does it mean that Alliance Red Paladins are a joke or a meme? No, I don't think so. Obviously, Horde Red Paladins will be a bit better, but you can also do quite well as an Alliance Paladin. And don't forget about the improved Seal of the Crusader, which is reason alone for having you in a raid group, regardless of your faction. Alright guys, this was my basic Paladin guide. Thank you for sticking around until the end. I hope you liked it. Please give this video a thumbs up if you did, and if you're enjoying my content, please consider subscribing to my channel to not miss out on any of my future videos. Bye!